Welcome back to the Haven Homestead podcast, where we learn and grow together on our way to living more sustainable lives. My name is Chris, and I will be your guide on our sustainability journey today. Today we're going to be talking about homesteading hacks. This is episode 48, and we're going to be discussing a few of the homesteading hacks that I like and that I've done here on our farm, on our homestead. These are kind of like homesteading and maybe prepping sort of hacks. But what is a hack? There's lots of different definitions for that. But before I tell you what those definitions are, well, the one I like the best, I just want to remind you to head on over to www.havenhomestead.com, where you can see pictures of us, you can sign up for our newsletter, you can see our upcoming events, you can shop our store of farm products, handicrafts, digital books, educational materials, and hard copy books and educational materials that Lindsay's worked so hard on writing a bunch of stuff. So you check all that stuff out. You can contact us page, learn about us. You can ask us questions, which I really, really like. People ask us questions. Notice in our contacts page, there's a picture of Lindsay and I standing there, and I have my homemade pitchfork handle there. That handle has since broken, but I am particularly proud of that one. That should have made it onto my hacks list, is to make your own handles. But all I did is I drilled into the end, fitted the pitchfork head into it, and then put a hose clamp on there. A couple hose clamps, I think, if I remember right. And it worked for probably over a year, maybe a year and a half. On our website, we also have our photo gallery, which is a little bit behind because it has Garden 2017, and our kittens, which are adolescents now. You can check out our Airbnb room, our woofing room, which we've talked about woofers that have stayed here. We have one right now. Any of our events, our podcast ones. I'm looking at the website. That's what I remember why this segment's taking a little longer than usual. We put a lot of work into our website, and so if you head on out there, you can find about a lot of things that we've talked about. Lindsay's done a blog that she has put a lot of good information about raising chickens and things in there. So, in fact, I even used some of her blog article when I did my episode on chickens. Also, please head on out to some of our other social media at Spreaker, which is where this is at, or the website or the podcast is hosted. YouTube, we're Haven Homestead 2009. Instagram, Twitter, search for Haven Homestead and look for our symbol or our pictures. I think on Instagram it's the Haven Homestead and Twitter's just Haven Homestead. So anyhow, if you guys go on out there, I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, etc., etc. Also, please consider becoming our patron at Patreon, patreon.com/Haven Homestead. And those helps to keep us helping people because, this work, I believe, is worth something. And if you found it useful in your life, then look forward to your support there. Also, please head on out to happyleafled.com, where you can order all of your indoor passive hydroponic paraphernalia. They have the anywhere, anytime garden in a box, which makes a great gift for a garden lover in your life. For just $65, you get one 4-inch LED grow light and USB power supply, the LED light suspension tools, a light timer, 4 black plastic net pots, hydroponic clay pellet growing medium, hydroponic nutrients, and seeds. All you have to do is add mason jars and water. With their advanced LED grow light and easy passive hydroponic starter kit, anyone can master indoor gardening anywhere, anytime. Visit www.happyleafled.com today to get your kit. Don't forget to use the coupon code FRIEND in all caps for a 10% discount. Also, when you see the Where Did You Hear About Us survey, please let them know you heard about them on the Haven Homestead podcast. Once again, that's happyleafled.com. And you can see that at the end of our show notes. I always put a link there to their website. And I tell you, they have quality products. We use them ourselves, and we couldn't be happier. So, what is a hack? A hack, you might have heard, like, if you remember the show MacGyver, these are also called MacGyverisms. And a life hack is a trick, a shortcut. This is according to, I found this on Wikipedia, but there were other sources that had similar things, because Wikipedia, they usually get their sources from something. And you have to look up life hack in Wikipedia. So if you just look up hack, you're going to get computer hackers and someone who isn't very good at their job, what a hack. Or to cut something with rough, irregular strokes. But this one is a trick, a shortcut, a novelty that increases productivity and efficiency. So a trick or a shortcut or a novelty that increases productivity and efficiency. These things I've done because I'm cheap, one, and two, because I had a problem and I found a solution that works well for not a lot of money. And that is kind of our main game here, because this is a podcast about sustainability and doing things cheaper, not spending all your money on everything under the sun, makes it easier to be sustainable. Really, money is this thing that's really, I think, limits a lot of people's sustainability. So these things are in the spirit of doing something for yourself or making something for yourself so you don't have to pay somebody else, and they are inexpensive. So one of the things that I like, which I didn't really think of was a hack, but I was watching a YouTube video and they called it a hack, and I thought, you know what, I guess it is really a hack, is the pallet compost bin. You take a pallet and then you screw on two other pallets in front of on the front of it, so it makes a C shape if you're looking at it from above. So you have one in the back, and then you screw two to the ends, or somehow attach them so they make kind of a C shape. Then you can take like a board or a half a pallet or something, or even a full pallet, and complete that to make it like a square. You can complete it, or you can just cut it halfway. When I did mine, I have one bin, and I filled it completely full of plant matter, and so I had to put that front on there so that it could build, it could be stacked higher. And it broke down to being only like a foot of compost in the bottom. I mean, it was amazing how much it broke down to where there was almost nothing. It went from 5 feet to 1 foot or less. What you do, so you make this pallet bin, so make it C-shape, and then what you can do is also add another shape, so that then it's kind of like has 3 pallets in a row and then 2 across the back. So you have kind of a trident looking thing, if I'm explaining it right. Or maybe if you use your imagination, it looks kind of like a W or an M. And then you can put that half pallet, if you cut a pallet in half, you can use the front parts on both of those. And you can go as many pallet bins as you want. And sometimes it's nice to be able to pick the compost up and put it into the next bin over, and then the bin on the very end is your finished material. So all the new stuff would go in, say, the far left bin, and all the finished material would be in the far right bin. That could be a way to do, and then maybe have 3 or 4 bins in between, and then it just gets turned as it goes down the row. The next one is one that I'm particularly proud of. I was going to save this for last, but I'll do it now. And that is what I like to call the PVC gutter. So what you do is, if you have a tin roof, this works best on tin roofs. If you have composite roof, I haven't really made any composite roofs here on the homestead. We have almost all tin roofs. And the reason why is that we can harvest the water easier, I think. You don't get the little pebbles of asphalt or little chunks of rock and stuff that you do off the composite roofing. So with the metal roofing, you take a 4-inch PVC pipe, 10 foot, just a regular piece PVC pipe. And I used my skill saw, or circular saw, some people call them, and I drew a line straight down one side, and then used it and cut it on just one edge or one side of it. I just cut a line down it, and as I was going, it wanted to like kind of fold or pinch the blade, so I just put a stick in behind the saw to keep the cut open, and then went all the way to the end. When it was cut at the end, then you can jam something a little bit bigger in there, and you put it up onto the downhill edge, the drip edge of your metal roof, and drive it on, and just keep the stick right in front of the metal edge so that it's opening it as you're driving it on. And every once in a while you have to tap the PVC to keep it tight onto your roof. And then when it gets to the end, you take the stick out, and it clamps, the PVC clamps onto the tin roof. And because the tin roof is corrugated, because it's got little bumps, those keep the pipe open enough so that water can run down in there, but it doesn't get jammed up with a whole lot of leaves. I mean, we live in the forest, and so we've got fir trees, and we've got alder trees, and we've got all kinds of stuff, and the water still gets through without getting it completely full of leaves. So it kind of blocks out the leaves and lets the water run through. I haven't really tested it with a lot of snow, so the snow needs to slide off. So that might be something that could be a bad thing for people who get a lot of snow. But here we don't get a lot of snow, we just get a lot of rain mostly. So the PVC gutter works really well, and our rabbit pen, our improved rabbit hutch, is 25 feet long. So I added another piece of gutter to it, and all I did is just measure where the new piece of gutter would be, and drove the old piece to where I knew that the new piece would come to just go inside of the bell just a little bit. The bell is the bigger piece on a piece of PVC pipe, so I drove the smaller piece into the bigger piece just enough, and it drips a little bit. It's not a watertight seal, but it's definitely not running out. And then our rabbit hutch is at just a little bit of an angle so that it runs right down and into the barrel, collects the water, use the water to water the animals. It's perfect. And I've had that gutter up on the old rabbit hutch for a long time, and it's worked great. And then we take a barrel, just a regular blue barrel or black barrel or whatever color barrel you have, and I put a spigot into the side so that I could open up with a ball valve, so I could open it up and fill up a bucket and then just turn it off, and it keeps water. It drips a little bit because the ball valve, I kind of had to MacGyver it up. It's not commercial. It's not like a bulkhead seal or anything that that would really keep good water tight, and doesn't have any rubber seal to keep it tight. It's just some PVC pieces that I kind of glued together and put in there and smashed them together, and anyway, prayed that it would hold. The PVC gutter with the water catchment, I think, is a really smart plan, and it's worked really well for us. Every once in a while, the catchment barrel needs to be dumped out because it gets kind of gunky in there and washed out, but it's worked pretty good so far. Now the next one is along with the same rain catchment idea, but instead of using a PVC pipe, what I did for our ducks is I made a tarp in kind of a lean-to fashion, and then under the bottom edge, the drip edge, I left the tarp just a little bit slack so that it would kind of bow towards the middle, and put a swimming pool at the bottom, a kiddie pool at the bottom. That way that the water could go down and fill up the kiddie pool, and the ducks loved it. And it worked really good. It didn't cost me any, I didn't have to haul water out or turn water on or keep doing that. It kept the ducks' water full all the time. And every now and again, I'd go out and dump it out. Well, every now and again, meaning every few days, I'd go dump it out, and it would run downhill and then it fill back up. So if you have ducks, that worked well for me. So they had a spot for them to get out of the rain, plus the pool didn't completely cover up under the tarp. It was mostly out from under the tarp, so they had a spot to get out from the rain. I threw in straw down there, so they had a spot to make their nests if they like, which ducks didn't seem to care about that. They just kind of pop out an egg wherever they feel like, and then a catchment area. So that I thought was really good. And tarps are really useful, and that sounds kind of ghetto and kind of looks trashy, but if you do it well, tarps can really be a lifesaver. And if you want, you could always make a real roof and then use that PVC gutter to run that water over to the pool as well. Now this is a prepper hack, which is just kind of prudent, I guess you could say, but to keep your gas fresh. So I like to, if I know I'm not going to use a can of gas for a while, 5-gallon can, I like to throw in some Sta-Bil or some sort of additive to keep the gas fresh. But another way you can do is rotate your gas. So say in January, you fill up the number 1, because it's the first month, the number 1 can, and you have a marker on there. You fill up gas can number 1 in January, gas can number 2 in February, 3 on so on till 12. That gives you 60 gallons of gas. Then in January, you take number 1 gas can and you put it into your vehicle. Then you drive to the store, and when you go to fill up the rest of the way, you go ahead and fill up your gas can as well. That way that your tank of gas never cost any more than it would have anyhow, but you got 5 gallons of fresh gas again. And as long as you can keep your gas on a good rotation. Now, it seems like I've heard that gas can go bad in a couple of months, but if you put a little bit of Sta-Bil in there, or some other sort of additive that keeps gas fresh, you should be in pretty good shape. And then plus you have, emergency gas to get somewhere. 60 gallons should, give you 3 full tanks of gas, or if you have to get somewhere, and gas is unavailable, then you have that option. The last hack I have for you today, so this ended up being 5 hacks. The last hack that I had for you is, we have cats. A lot of people have cats that live on a homestead or a farm because they keep the rodent population down. Our mama cat, who is, we've had her for a long time. She had some kittens, and we have 2 babies here that are adolescents, teenagers, I guess you could say. With 3 cats, there's 3 times as much poop around. So what we've done is, we noticed that they were kind of pooping in our planters outside, and we had some kiwi, some hardy kiwi, and some other things that we wanted to keep in these planters, but the cats just went in there and pooped in them. So what we've done is we put rocks in there, and as long as the cats can't dig into the dirt or bark or whatever the case may be, whatever your medium is that you have planted in, as long as they can't dig into it, they won't poop on it. I haven't noticed any poop in these containers. And there was a pretty significant amount when we went in and put the rocks in. But we just picked some kind of bigger rocks, set them around, and the plants can still grow. Their roots can still grow down in there. And we don't have to worry about digging cat manure out of there. Because there are a few things that I dislike more than cat crap. So the very last, just little tidbit of information I want to say, because it looks like we're just about time's up. Not that it really matters. I found this interesting tidbit on that Wikipedia article. It said the American Dialect Society voted life hack, one word, as the runner-up for the most useful word of 2005, right behind podcast. And so you find out about life hack on the podcast. Anyhow, so I hope you've enjoyed these hacks. If you have any questions about the setup, or I think I'd like to do some videos on them, I need to write that down so I don't forget, then just go ahead and message us if you have any questions or clarifications. I'm happy to answer any questions about, especially the PVC gutter. It might be kind of difficult to imagine, but I'm more than happy to send pictures or or information or explanations or any of that sort of thing to anybody who wants it. I'd also like to find out where you are, in the broad sense of the term. What city or growing zone or country or any of that sort of stuff about you. Maybe why you're listening, what's your favorite episode, that kind of stuff, because I really like to have that connection with the listeners, and it means a lot to me. This has been another episode of the Haven Homestead Podcast, where we learn and grow together on our way to living more sustainable lives. Thanks for listening.